Pocket clips. Back in the day, stuff like this was extremely common. Maybe not a tip-up pocket clip like this one right here. Usually tip-down was all over the place back in the day. Talking 15, 20, even 25 years prior to me filming this video in mid-late 2023. But if you did get a tip-up pocket clip, usually it was pretty low on the handle there. You can see there's quite a bit that would potentially be poking out of your pocket if you were to clip this to it. But nobody really had any issues with these at the time. The idea was you'd have a lot more to grip onto, so it would be easier to extract out of your pocket. It was common to see stuff like this on more tactical style folders that were meant for self-defense, that were meant to be extracted quickly. Some knives, on the other hand, would have a very similar style pocket clip, but they would place it as far as they possibly could up on the handle to save as much space as possible. You still do have something poking out of your pocket. There's some people may catch a glimpse of that. Probably not quite as easily as something like this, but you can see by the grid there, we have quite a bit more poking out on this knife on the left right here. Easier to get out of the pocket, but it's easier to see. And if it's really low, this is kind of an extreme example, but the lower it is, the more of a liability it becomes. The knife can knock into things, snag on stuff easier, etc. But even then, as high as these pocket clips could go, this still was a little bit too much for some people. Some people did not want others to see them carrying anything whatsoever. They want to be as covert as possible while keeping the knife clipped to their pocket. Well, enter the loop over pocket clip. You can see that the pocket clip actually protrudes past the butt of the handle, meaning if you were to clip this to a pocket, some cargo pants right here, it's like the knife almost vanished entirely. The screws start right here where I'm pointing, where you can see this little opening in the pocket clip. That's where the pocket clip mounts onto the handle, but because it is bent and loops around, it's even more covert than something more standard like this. You can see a very clear difference there. As far as covertness goes, the loop over clip is the clear winner. I saw these start getting used maybe about like 10 years ago. I'm sure there's plenty of other knives out there I'm unfamiliar with, maybe some more oddball stuff, etc. But these didn't really become more standardized until, I want to say, the mid-2010s. Now they're all over the place. We have so many loop over pocket clips going on all kinds of knives, all different brands, all different styles of folders with variations within the loop over clip style clips themselves. The people have spoken. I remember watching videos and reading on knife forums, so many people talking about them preferring loop over pocket clips. Everyone was going nuts for loop over pocket clips. And although I liked them, I liked how they were covert, the one thing I didn't like about them is I felt they were difficult to extract. And to this day, I only partially still agree with that. So loop over pocket clips inherently are technically more difficult to extract out of the pocket than a non-loop over clip. That is, of course, if the loop over pocket clip is as close to the butt of the handle as it can be, like this one right here. Or, even better example, some of them even overlap the butt of the handle, so they actually extend past it. So in a way, you could say it's even more covert, but it could potentially be even more difficult to extract with certain fabrics. I'll get to that in a second. And on top of that, sometimes this can be a hot spot, ergonomically speaking. This one's not too bad, but there's a handful of other knives out there that have protruding loop over clips that kind of bite into the palm of your hand a little bit and be a little bit uncomfortable. But in normal carry, personally, I don't really have any major issues with all different kinds of loop over clips. I tend to not have an issue pulling them out of the pocket. Yeah, it's technically a little bit more difficult. You have a little bit less space there, as you can see. Instead of it being, down here, it's taking full advantage of being covert and it's up here. But if you grip onto the pocket clip itself, that's not an issue. So I don't necessarily need to grip on to this portion of the knife. I don't really need that extra room. Generally speaking, when we're getting into really big knives and we're talking about waving a knife off of a pocket, that's a little bit different. That's when I want that extra space. But for even large size folders, maybe 4.5 inch blades, I'm fine with loop over clips being as high on the handle as possible. Now, here's the one time I do not like loop over clips. And it's not just because of the fact that they are loop over, but it's the overall design of the specific clip itself. I'm going to show you. These two I have a lot of trouble carrying with certain pairs of pants. I don't know what it is. Some pairs of pants I wear, particularly thicker ones, I'm fine. With these things, they extract just okay. But with my normal ones, they get stuck. They get caught up. I don't know what it is. I wonder if it's just the combination. Both of these protrude past the handles. They're both loop over clips and they're both flush. So you can see they start, and at their highest point, they maintain that elevation, and then they pinch down on the handle. Same with right here. Here's an example of a pocket clip that does not do that. Going back to this guy, you can see the highest point shoots down and then pinches the handle. Now, normally, I've said this in a lot of my videos, I don't like it when pocket clips do this. I usually actually like it when they're flush and then pinch down like these two are. But for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, when it's a loop over pocket clip, could be a combination of these materials. It could be how low they're riding on the handle. I don't really know. But these two designs in particular get stuck in my pants all the time. And because there's nothing protruding out, I literally have nothing to grip onto except for the pocket clip itself. But when I try to grab the pocket clip itself, unless I'm like really careful with it, the fat of my finger touches the fabric of the pants. And as I'm trying to pull it up, I'm also just pulling up the pants as well. And it does absolutely nothing. So I have to individually give it really specific attention, or do one of these things, grab on the sides of the knife. If a dangerous situation came up, that would be a very, very, very bad thing. But not just talking about, tactical use and trying to defend your life. I'm also just talking about everyday carry stuff. It's annoying. It's annoying having to give a certain knife special treatment. Go back to the pants. First, let's load it up with something that works okay. Here's another like standard design. So there it is. Rides pretty nicely. A little bit poking out there, but many people will not even think that's a knife. They could think you're, I don't know, carrying a pen or something, unless they saw this green right here, but no problems there. Extracts just fine. This guy, although I will say the pocket clip protruding past the handle is a nice touch. Now you really can't see what that is. A lot of people won't know that's a knife. So it's not that the pocket clip's so tight, it's just the design. You have to, if I grab just the pocket clip itself and not the pants, even then, okay. There we go. That worked out okay, but if I just try to grab this, I have to finagle my thumb and make sure I'm not touching any of the fabric. Same, this guy's even worse. It's so, oh man, that's tight. It's a very, very low, I can barely even get this on the entire fabric, at least with these cargo pants, but same problem. Sometimes I have to, okay, let me grab the side. That's ridiculous. Wow, that is so bad. Oh, it's caught. See that? Oh, God. Yeah. Subpar pocket clip right there. Maybe certain fabrics, these carry okay, but not with cargo pants, apparently. Anyway, what are your thoughts on loop over pocket clips? Do you really prefer them over the standard clips? Should these be the new standard? Should they continue to be the new standard, I should say? Personally, I really like loop over pocket clips. I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me. If I see a knife that's really cool and it's got the blade still I like, it's got a locking mechanism I like the aesthetics of it, it's good construction, it's affordable, it's not a deal breaker for me if I find out it's not a loop over clip. If everything else falls into place and I like the way it looks, I'm gonna go get it. However, the problem I do have is when they are poorly designed, or at least I think they're poorly designed for the specific pants I wear. For whatever reason, they just do not agree with these. That's when I don't like the loop over clips. That's the only situation where I actually want that just a little bit lower there, just so I have something extra to grab onto in case it gets stuck like that. These knives are totally okay carrying in any kind of pants, pretty much. For whatever reason, these two, and they happen to be the only ones that are like flush. This one looks like a similar design. It's flush, and then it pinches down. Because this is higher, we have more elevation right here before it sits on the handle. So it could be just because there's more space, it's more free. It's not as tight, I suppose. The combination of them having such a low elevation above the handle as well as being loop over makes them very tight, and it gives you no extra options to extract the knife out of your pocket other than, again, grabbing around this area, which is touching the exact portion that is also pinching down in the pocket, meaning you're not really getting much done when you're trying to pull it out. On certain pairs of pants anyway. Again, what do you think? Have you had any bad experiences with any loop over clips, or do you think all pocket clips should be loop over? Advantages, disadvantages I missed? Please leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe, hit that little bell notification if you do not want to miss weekly knife and gun videos, and feel free to support me on Patreon, link in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Mannix out.